once in a while, an expert emerges and completely changes the game. Someone who is a mentor to those who are willing to learn. A leader who does just that, leads. Someone who is the very definition of courage, the example of integrity, and an undeniable product of a strong work ethic. A man who leads by example and takes total responsibility. And now, he's being called one of the most influential men in our industry. The one, the only, Mr. Holton Buggs.
Well, good evening, good afternoon, good day, good night. Those of you who are around the world, I want to say welcome to this opportunity call that we have. I am Holton Buggs, the guy that they were talking about in the video. And I want to say that, you know what, it is absolutely a pleasure to be here on this call right now, talking with so many people around the world. If you are one of our guests, somebody who was invited, maybe you were sent an email or sent a text message or some type of link to say, hey, listen, there's some phenomenal information that you need to hear, or whatever it is that they said. If you were a guest in the call, I want you to put a number 1 in the chat right now. Just put a number 1 in the chat so that I can at least understand that I'm talking to real people. Awesome. Wow, I'm watching all of these people from all over the world. I've seen Philippines. I've seen places from all over Europe. I've obviously seen people coming in from Africa as well. And wow, this is awesome, awesome, awesome. So first of all, I want to say again, congratulations. This is a very special Sunday. I put out a message recently that I was actually going to be doing a call and sharing with what I call friends. I want you to identify that today is called a connection. What my purpose is on this call is for us to actually make a connection. Am I going to sell you something? Of course. Of course I am going to sell you something. It wouldn't be right to get on this call, talk about life is great, talk about some challenges, talk about some solutions, and not sell you something. So I want to go ahead and take the pressure right off of you. Here's the thing I want you to understand. I'm not going to push anything down your throat whatsoever. One of the things I want you to understand is that today I'm going to talk to you from a perspective of experience. I'm going to share some things that are real for you. Most of the times I've gotten on calls like this and I hear people give these elaborate presentations and they talk about things that are so scripted and they try to hide the fact that they have something of value. So let's go ahead and get an agreement here. Before we even move forward, let's get an agreement. If I've got something of value that can improve the quality of your life, improve and increase your level of confidence, and give you a little bit more level of certainty as to your economic future over the next 10 to 20 years, is that of value to you? If that is, I want you to put another number 1 in the chat. If that is of value to you, put a number 1 in the chat. So we're already agreeing that that is something of value to you. Now, let me share with you what my job is from this point on. We've already established the fact that that is something that you're looking for and that is something of value. My job now is to paint a picture, give you a description of what I have found to be a solution and make the connection so that your problem or your challenge have met my solution. And at the end, here's what real mature business people do. They make an exchange. They make an exchange. It's called commerce. It's called capitalism. And that's what we're going to talk about here. I come out and tell you that from the very beginning, why I am not afraid to let you know that I may have a solution. But here's the thing I want you to also understand, that there's somebody on this call, and I don't know who it is, and it may be 1 or 2 of these people on this call. I don't have your solution. Maybe your problem is much bigger than mine. Than my solutions. Maybe your problem doesn't even come into the area of my expertise. Or maybe simply I am not the right person. Maybe my presentation may be boring. Maybe I don't come across, or maybe we just don't have the energy of connection. And you know what? That is completely okay as well. The most important thing that I want to walk away from here with is an agreement. Number 1, that this guy gave it his best effort. And number two, I was as thorough and as transparent as possible. And then guess what? The last part is going to be your decision. The person who even invited you here, they're not going to pressure you. They're not going to call you back up. Why? Here's what I've learned. And over, I don't know how many years of doing business, but over 30 plus years of doing business, here's what I've learned. I have never, ever, ever, ever helped somebody succeed by forcing them to succeed. I can give you a huge resume, and they probably already told you, give you a huge resume of the people that I've helped, over 50 people that I've helped become millionaires, and not one of those people that I ever had to force or to convince them that they needed to make a change. So now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's talk about some issues here. Let's talk about what some of the challenges are, and let's make a connection today. I want to go ahead and make a connection today. I've got my moderator who's actually going to be running the slides for me. His name is Mark Kithcart. And so if you see the slides going a little bit fast or a little bit slow, it's because we're just actually, he's going to be feeding off of my energy. Normally when I give presentations, I just speak from the heart, but I thought it would be pretty cool if I had a few slides that were put together so that those of you who are more visual, you can actually go along with me as well. But here's one of the things I want to talk about. Let's talk about what does it take to, number one, to succeed, and what does it take to get out from up under some of the things that many of us are going through. Let me share with you a very quick story to share with you how I overcame. And then what I want to do is I want to spend the majority of the time talking about you, talking to the people who actually took the time. And there's so much that you can be doing right now, but you took some time away to come and listen to me. You know, years ago, I didn't have this level of confidence. I didn't. Years ago, I wasn't living the way that I live today, right? Years ago, there were some challenges. I had real big goals, real big dreams, but I didn't have a coach, I didn't have a mentor, and I didn't have a specific plan. And here's what I learned. I remember listening to my mom as I was growing up, and my mom gave me what she thought was the best advice that she could give. And that was go to school, get a good education, so son, you can get a good job. And I went out and did that. And here's what I found. That good job was only as good as what my expenses were. And I had a big dream. And I found myself $250,000 in debt. I found myself 45 days away from foreclosure. I found myself just with a car repossession and living from check to check. And I never forget, I wanted something different. Some of you may not have gone through all of that. Some of you may have gone through that and maybe even worse. I remember trying to file bankruptcy, but I didn't have enough money to file bankruptcy. And so I went out and bought a book, and this book was so thick and I don't like to read. And I was like, man, by the time I get through this book, my credit will have been restored because it's going to take me 10 years to get through a bankruptcy book. And so I didn't. And what I did was this, I never forget, my grandfather told me something. He said, son, listen, the secret to success is find somebody who has done what you want to do and just duplicate what they've done. And so what are we going to talk about here today? We're going to talk about not only me, we're going to talk about so many other people who actually have some keys to success and have done it. And there's a whole group of individuals that I've had a chance of teaching many of them. Many of them came with their own knowledge, but the common denominator is we have some answers. Most often, you know what people do when they have problems? They associate with people who have their same problem. They talk about how bad things are. Well, listen, first thing I'll give you this for free. Don't want anything from it, for it. Here's what I tell you. From now, talk to people who have your answer, not people who have your problem. So now, let's get on to it. When I think about what's happening right now, our world is changing, and it's changing fast. And by the way, obviously, the good part of the story is I took what my grandfather said, I found someone, and I'll never forget, this was a gentleman who didn't have a high school diploma, didn't have a college degree, but he was very successful. He took me up under his wing, so to speak, from a distance. I paid attention to everything he shared with me, and I was able to actually learn a few things about business and how to really create a little bit of wealth. And I did that. And I was able to go from $250,000 in debt to actually walking away and retiring at the age of 26. Never worked again for another individual because I knew that there was something bigger and better. I want to talk to you about some of the things that our school system will never teach you. The school system is never going to teach your children whatsoever. I want to talk to you about money and how to multiply money. Now, I know many of you right now are probably clamming up in anxiety saying, oh, here he is. He's going to talk about all of this complex stuff that I have to learn. And no, I'm not. I already told you guys, I didn't like reading. It would have taken me 10 years to read that book. But what I do like is I didn't like reading, but I love increasing my knowledge so that I can increase my income. I wanted to know something different. If I knew something, this guy here who did go to college, I went for 5 years for an engineering degree, and I don't have the degree because I got through 5 years, I figured out the secret to success, and I says, why would I waste my time on the last 2 classes when I've already figured out that I don't want anything to do with engineering? I am going to be an entrepreneur, and I'm so glad that I did. But if I figured something out, I'm sure you would want to know. So let's talk about some of the things that we have. I want this to be as interactive as it possibly can. I'm going to be very brief, but I want it to be interactive. I want to talk to you, and I'm going to ask you from time to time to respond in the chat to give me some feedback so that I can help you understand what it is that we have. But let's talk about some of the commonalities that we have, and then I'll share with you not only how I overcame and have been financially independent way since 26. I'm 51 years old right now. That's 25 years ago. I know I don't look it. Thanks for saying it. But it works. And it's been working for me for 25 years. 25 years. So now, what are we living in now? Where are we living, and what kind of times are we living in at this moment? We're living in times where technology is replacing much of the knowledge base that we currently have. Right now, if they're sharing a screen, the screen is blank, and all I see is me, guys. Just letting you know, I don't see any slides on the screen whatsoever. And if we can, we should be able to put something on the screen here talking about interesting financial times or uncertainty, things of that nature, because that's what I want to focus on. You know, we just came off of a record-breaking economy, specifically here in the United States about 3 years ago. Our lives were completely interrupted by COVID-19, and the world has completely changed. Everybody agrees. If you agree that our world has changed, just put a yes in the comment, no matter if you're a guest or you're here. I want to know if you believe that the world has changed, because some people really believe that the world is still the exact same way. It is not. Things are different. Prices have escalated. The money that we have, if you had actually had money in account, that money that you would have had is worth much less now than if you would have had that same amount of money 3 years ago. So what has actually hurt us? Recession. Things of a recession. Recession just simply means that our economy on a global scale is not moving forward. It is actually going backwards. The value of your money is actually moving backwards. Replacement by artificial intelligence. That's right. Sometimes right now, many of you who have jobs or many of you who have opportunities or income, it's being replaced, if not now, in some distant future, it's going to be replaced by robotics or artificial intelligence. I use artificial intelligence all the time right now, all the time. And so do you. And you're probably saying, well, I don't. Maybe you use Siri, or maybe you use, Amazon, whatever the Amazon person's name, or maybe you use Hey Google if you've got those things in your house or on your phone. That's a sense of artificial intelligence. And slowly but surely, it's being adopted into every aspect of our world. And what artificial intelligence does, it replaces the need for human intelligence in some respects. Working from home now is actually something that's very important. Working for yourself is very important. If you take a look at it right now, there's a couple of wars that's taking place, and there's a lot of economic uncertainty. And that economic uncertainty causes people to pause. It causes our economy to pause as well. Well, when you think about it, let's talk about a few other things here. I want to talk about the 3 mindsets that we have during times like this. And I want you to identify which one are you. What's the missing piece? Let's talk about these 3 mindsets, okay? There's 3 different mindsets that we have. 96% of the people are in what we call survival mode. Survival mode. That's 96. You know, the saddest thing is that most of them are not willing to admit it. The people that I've had a chance to actually develop and help the most are the ones who are most honest and transparent and say, hey, you know what? I look good on the outside. We've got nice looking cars. We've got a nice looking house, but you know what? I am so struggling. And those are the people who we can actually help and rescue the fastest because they're transparent. 3% of the people are in what we call the success zone. 1% of the people are in what we call that significant zone. Now, which one are you? Which one are you? One of the things that we're going to talk about is how we make money today that needs to be different. It requires a different mindset. I want to share with you that there's 3 purposes of money, okay? Or there's 3 characteristics of money, or 3 mindsets as well. I'll give you 3 other mindsets. Anytime we make a dollar, when I talk about the poor mindset, and when I say poor, it's just a person who doesn't recognize the purpose of money. They use money to do what? They use money to buy things and be a consumer, right? There's nothing wrong with consuming, but if the largest part of your money has been used to consume, even the lifestyle, even your cars and houses and clothing and jewelry or whatever it is, vacationing, things of that nature, you know what? It can be excessive. The second type of person who uses money, they use money to get in debt. These are typically your professionals, people who have an image to uphold. People like I used to be, having this status. I wanted people to think more of me, so I walked around in all of these, expensive ties and shirts and suits and stuff like that because I wanted this image, and I would spend so much money on my image knowing that I'm suffering in silence there. But they use money to get into debt. Why? You're making 60, 70, 80, $100,000 a year. And what I find is that the people who are in those particular ranges, they look up to the people who have a greater lifestyle, so they use debt services to actually funnel their lifestyle. I used to be person number 2. Person number 3 is a person that I didn't even know. I didn't have this person around me. I didn't grow up with this person, and so I didn't even know how to become it. Person number 3 is the person who uses money, uses a dollar to turn it into another dollar. I'll say that again. Who understands that the purpose of making a dollar is to turn $1 into $2. And I'm going to talk to you today, and I want you in your mindset, if you'd like to be person number 3, if you believe that mentality of person number 3 is the mindset that brings most people financial stability and success, I want you to put a number 3 in the chat box, okay? Put a number 3 in the chat box. Now, getting on the right side of money, there's what we call the cash flow quadrant. Really quickly, for some of you who don't know, I at least want to educate you a little bit. I want to show you that I came from meager beginnings, from a family who was not educated. My mom had a high school diploma, and that was the highest that anybody in my family. I was the first person to go to college. I was also the first person to drop out. You heard me talk about that my senior year in engineering school. But so my family didn't have the answers. So they thought traditional education was going to be it. The world has changed today. I have a son, he's 26 years old. I've never forced him to go to college, and he's far more successful at 26 than I was at 40, okay? At 40. Why? Times have changed. But let's talk about the first quadrant, the employee quadrant. Many of us are trained to become an employee. That's where the E is. It means that actually you have a job. Right at the bottom, you've got what we call the self-employed quadrant. That also includes, much of what we call the gig economy. If you drive for Uber, if you're a hairdresser, if you are even many attorneys who I'm a I own my own attorney firm, or maybe I own a truck and I'm a self-driving, I own a trucking business, but I drive the truck, or these type of businesses, or maybe I'm an electrician and I own my own little business where I am the electrician. Those are self-employment jobs, and it's great. The only issue with that is you actually bought and invested into your own job where you're your own boss, but you're still employed just by yourself. Nothing wrong with it, and I'd rather you be there than just the employee quadrant, okay? But there's limitations. Here's the number 1 limitation to being in the S quadrant: time. You can't multiply your time. Think about it. When you were working the same number of hours, but the price of bread is doubled, that means that if all you bought was bread, you'd have to work twice the number of hours to be able to buy the same amount of bread. It's not inflation's fault. It's the vehicles that you're using for income. It's blame that. Blame the lack of knowledge. And what we're going to do is give you the right knowledge and show you what to do. B quadrant is one that's for the business owners. That's typically when you're working in a business and you've got the opportunity to multiply your efforts. Most B quadrant have typically you qualify there when you're somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 to 500 employees, because now you can scale your lifestyle and scale the lifestyle of many other people, okay? And then the I quadrant is what we call the investor quadrant. What is the investor quadrant and why is that so important? The investor quadrant is so important because we're going to teach you here how to take your money. And instead of you going out, putting on overalls and working hard, put overalls on your money and make it come back with a friend. Wouldn't that be cool? Here's what I do. I take my money today, and I didn't know how to do this, and I thought it was so difficult. I take my money, I send it out to the right places. You have to know where to send it. And my money always comes back, and it comes back with buddies and friends and homeboys and homegirls. Pretty cool. And you know what? Most often that I send my money out, it's when I'm sleeping. My money works the best when I am sleeping. If you're not earning money, when you're not paying attention, what happens is inflation, taxes, and world economic situations and change, it actually works against you. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you as a person. It's just that we've been educated backwards. I'm here to say it. I don't care which college you went to, and I don't care what level of degree, and I'm not putting down what what you've learned. But see, most people get on a call like this, and they say what you want to hear because they want money from you. Got enough money, don't need yours. I'm going to get some of it because we're going to exchange ideas, and you're going to give the system money, and that's how business works. And I'm not embarrassed about that, but I don't need your money for my lifestyle. I want you to make more money so that we can be friends and we can go to different places and do great things. And so that I have another story of somebody who said, you know what, before I got on a call on Sunday, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, here's some information I didn't know. And I learned a little bit about myself and a little bit about money that changed the direction. And I now have a new way of looking at life. Because I promise you, if you learn what I'm going to teach you here, just in this short the next 20 minutes, I guarantee you'll never teach your children what your professors taught you. Because to teach your children what professors taught you about making money simply means either you didn't understand what I'm saying or you don't like your children. One of the two. All right. So let's move forward here. What is it that we all want? Yeah, we talk about it. I know it's very general. We want to design our life around family time, flexibility of living, financial stability. But you know what? Most people have no clue what that is. These are just words that we hear, and they're buzzwords, and they just sound like the fairy tale is actually visiting us. I want you to know people actually live this way. You know, my wife and I, we've been together ever since she was 13, ever since I was 13 and she was 12. We've been married now we just celebrated 30 years of marriage. And when we first got started, we had our dreams of, man, you know, she was going to be working this job. I'm going to be working this job. My whole plan was we're going to live in a trailer, pay that trailer off, sell that trailer, get out. I had my plan laid out. Why? Didn't have a mentor. Once I start studying from other people, we were able to shortcut that system. And now my wife and I, we live an incredible lifestyle. We're able to live different parts of the world when we choose to. And there's no place that we can't call home if we don't want to. And I can tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, it is so much better when you call your own shots. When you call your own shots, it's much, much better. But how do I do it? That's the number one thing. Many of you right now are probably asking, how, Sway, right? How do I do this? Well, is it simple? It's simple. Is it easy? It's never easy. You know what? I would be taking you for granted if I got on a call and say, all you have to do is 1, 2, 3, and you're going to be rich. It doesn't work that way at all. Matter of fact, I can't even guarantee you that you'll succeed at what it is that I'm doing and that we do, what we do. I can't guarantee you that. What I can guarantee you is that if you continue doing the same thing you've been doing, I promise you, it's not going to stay the same. It's going to be worse. You're probably already experiencing that. We've talked about it. It's called inflation and world economic change. Things are going to change and they don't care about your personal situation. And I know some of you do. You say, well, my government's going to take care of me. I can tell you right now, the government doesn't care about you personally. They don't, okay? And I'm not here to put any country's government down. I live in a country and I know my government is not so concerned about me. You know who's concerned about me? I am concerned about me, and it's time for you to be concerned about you and your family, because nobody is going to come and rescue you and put money in your account. Nobody's going to do it except you if you choose to do it. And so now here's what I do know. It's possible. If you believe in what I'm talking about, what I want you to do, if you agree with what I'm talking about, in the chat, put "it's possible," because the next 15 minutes, I want you going through this saying it's possible. That's all. It's possible. Okay. 90% of startups fail. So what? Who wants to be a part of the 90%? What if your kid came to you and says, "Mom, Dad, you know what? I'm going to work myself all the way up into the failure zone"? You've never taught your children that. So why is it that when we hear statistics like that, we hear, well, only 90% of the people succeed. Only 10% succeed. Exactly. This call is about you becoming a part of the top 3 to 5%. Aren't you sick and tired of being a statistic and being a part of that group that thought that they were going to be doing better? And now you're 40 years old or 50 years old, and you're looking back, you're like, wow, I thought I would have had more money saved. I thought I would have had more investments. How many more decades do you have left? And how many more years are you going to keep putting off what you know you're supposed to do, hoping that it's going to get better? And here's what I'll tell you. Hope is a horrible business strategy. It's a horrible business strategy, okay? Lots of time, money. We're not talking about traditional businesses, so don't worry about that. Employees, overhead and expenses, that's the old way of doing business. What we're going to talk about is being able to leverage somebody else, leverage other people's time, leverage other people's information and knowledge, like I am going to allow you to leverage mine. I am here to be used, not abused. I am here to be used. What does that mean? The information and the knowledge that I've gone through, the time that I've actually put into building myself up, the books that I've read, the people I've associated with, the failures that I've had, the money that I've lost, I'm going to say, hey, listen, use me to your advantage. Why? Because we have a system that if you leverage me and use me and you make money, the system says, Holton, there's a part of the reward for you as well. That's what's called smart business. You know, I've heard people look at that and say, oh, that's using your friends. You're making money off of your friends. Who else should I make money off of and with? Why would I not want to empower my friend, come up with a great idea, show them something special, improve the quality of their life, improve the confidence of their financial stability, that they can actually retire with dignity, and there's a little piece left for me? See, this is why people are backwards, because the reverse is what we do. We don't want to help our friends. You know, we think that that's a bad thing, and it's not. Here, I told you what my track record is, but I don't want to go and talk so much about me. But 1990 is when I started, and obviously you see 1997 is when I developed the formula for success. Yes, a lot of people have used my system. A lot of people have gone through, and I am nothing special. I didn't invent any of it. Everything that I have used to help other people develop leaders, it's because I learned it from someone else. So I don't want you to look at me like this guy is some genius who created all of this methodology. I didn't. I was just dumb enough to know that I needed somebody smarter than me to teach me. But I had work ethic and I wanted more out of life. And that's why in 2009, you start to see coached over 100 people to have earned over $1 million. Okay. Record-breaking earnings, sales in the last 12 years. I founded this company in 2019 because I wanted to make a difference, not because I needed to make a little bit more money. All right. Now, this is just a photo of one of our first events that we had in September 2019 when the company was first started. Let's go to the next slide here if we could, so we can get into some of the meat. I want to talk to you about two concepts that are very important. Most people get involved in businesses that they like. Let me give you an example. Some people like to cook, so they open up a restaurant, knowing nothing about opening a business, and it fails. Some people like kids, so you know what they do? They open up a daycare center because they like kids, and they start to realize that they're limited by the number of kids or the days or the number of hours that they can actually babysit kids. And they start to wonder 3 years later, why can't I scale my income up? Because they chose passions of things that they actually like. Businesses are not designed to get involved with things that you just like. Those are called hobbies. If you truly want to do something unique and significant, find something that pays well, find out what everybody's doing, but find out one characteristic. What did the people who are moving to the right, what did they miss? And how can I fill in that gap? And if I fill that gap in, am I right about it? See, if I'm right about it, there's a huge opportunity for me. But if I just follow the path of everybody else, don't figure out something different, there's no real big opportunity. There's no real big opportunity. And so success should be your passion, not the vocation itself. You know, I talk to people all the time, and here's what I hear a lot. Well, I just like helping people. Well, how many people have you helped in the last 2 years? And they don't even have a list. So obviously you don't like helping people. If you would like to, find a business that you probably don't even like the business as much, but that's very profitable, make a lot of money from it, have people to do the things that you don't like in that business, take the money, and then go out and do all the things that you really would like. But see, nobody teaches you that in college. What they teach in college is find something that you like, that even if it doesn't pay a lot of money, you'll be happy. And I'll tell you, it's not the truth. It is not the truth. I'm going to tell you the opposite of what these college professors, and I know we've got some college professors here. 2 industries that we're going to talk about. I'm going to talk to you about a travel industry. Why? Why is that significant? Because no matter what our economy does, the first industry to always rebound is travel. Now, here's the thing. Travel is not all about leisure travel. Business travel is so huge. It's one of the largest industries in the world, and we have found a unique way. We found out everywhere, every direction that everybody else is going, and we found one unique way to do something different and profit from it. I'll share it with you. It's going to take about 5 minutes. It's really simple. On the right, you see something that says elevate, take control of your financial future and build a legacy, okay? When it says build your own legacy, here's what you're looking at by building your own legacy. What you're looking at there is you're looking at what's called elevate, and this is how we teach you to multiply money. Multiply money, take control of your own future and build your own legacy. So when I talked about my wife and I taking our money, sending it out, and then letting it come back with overalls, sending it out and let it come back with friends, that's what we're going to talk about. So you may see the title of this says travel and trade. And that's what we're going to talk about here. So hold on, I've got just a few more moments, and then we're going to get into how you do it all. First one that we're talking about here is travel. Travel, okay? Travel, as I mentioned, is one of the largest industries in the world. Who doesn't like to travel? Right now, currently, the majority of the ideas that we have of travel is going to our social media page and watching other people experience it. What if you had a budget that you can actually go out and travel and have 5-star experiences at 2- and 3-star prices, okay? So what we've got is a travel platform that we actually have a very unique way that we actually give it away for free to our customers. For free. It costs them absolutely nothing. And I'm going to show you something that's different. Here's what we did. What I realized is that typically in the industry, what most companies were doing was saying, hey, telling customers, come to my website and book your travel. Well, they have to remember your website, first of all. Then they get to your website and prices aren't competitive. And so it didn't work. Well, what did we do that was different? We don't tell people to come to our website. I'll tell a customer, what vacation are you going to or going on next? Here, let me give you your own travel website. You go on, you find the best prices, we'll give you a price guarantee, and I will only make money if you save money. I don't make money if you can't save. If it costs you $1 more than all of the other travel sites, there's no money in it for me. There's only money in it if you save money. See, isn't that different? It's huge. It's incredible. And there's a fortune to be made if you understood just how simple this is. You don't need to be trained on travel. Your customers don't need to be trained on travel. They already are trained. We have just found a unique opportunity that is something that is mindless. You can send these things out in the form of what we call a boomerang. We'll show you that a little bit later. Well, you can send them an invite. They click on the button, scan a QR code. They now have their own travel website. They log in, and they are your customer for life. Do you know that there's people that's on this call right now that 10 years from now, somebody is actually going to be booking a travel event, and they're going to be making money from a link that they sent to this person today and they don't even know that this person is going to be traveling 10 years from now? See, that's called being able to make money while you are sleeping. Here's a visual that I want to give you real quick. I'll give you a visual, okay? I want you to just think of 5 people that you know of that has told you about where they just come from. Oh yeah, we spent summer here, we spent spring there, we went here, we had a wedding here, we had to go to a graduation here. Every time you hear that from now on, here's what I want you to realize, okay? If you don't at least get involved with this part, this is life for you. I'm going to talk to you real. And because you're going to continue hearing it. The next time you're in your car and you're driving down the highway, what I want you to do one day, I want you to take 500 $1 bills, and every single mile that you drive, I want you to take a $1 and just throw it out the window. Throw it out the window, throw it out the window, throw it out the window, until you've actually driven 500 miles. Why? Because that's exactly what you're giving away by not at least giving them for free. And it costs them nothing. It's free for life. We have found a way to attach people to you to be your travel customer for life. And the only way that you make money is if there's a savings beyond any other company out there in the world to your customer. That's not taking advantage. That is called smart business. Next slide. Now, I'll just give you one example here. Behind the curtain pricing, we have access to it. That's what we do. When you go to Expedia, when you go to all of these different booking engines, I want to share something with you real quick. It's the same company. It's only 2 companies. They create different websites and different marketing brands, but they're the same. That's why prices are the same. What we realize is that there's behind the curtain pricing. We have access to it. We've got one of the largest conglomerate of pricing when it comes to travel around the entire world. So the hotels recognize who we are, and for us, they give us access to those pricing. The only thing is this: it has to be through that customer's own website. We can't offer this if our customer comes to our website. We can only offer it if the customer is a member to us, and that's what we do. Here's one of the places that I went. If you look to your right, you'll see I actually booked a hotel at a resort. I saved $1,589. The total cost was $1,348. Look at that. That's 70% savings, ladies and gentlemen. I was going to go anyway, even if the total cost was $2,900 is which it was. I was going to go anyway. So that's the money that I saved that went back into my wife's shopping budget. You thought I was going to say my pocket. It went back into her shopping budget, because you know why I've said, honey, money saved. I saved $1,500. This is why I went out and bought that first. So ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go out and increase your wife's shopping budget, just become an iGo member here. Go to the next slide, please. Okay. We call this trade. And I was telling the team the other day, guys, I want to use a different name, because this is not about trading. This is about making money multiply. So whenever you see trade, here's what I want you to say: multiply money. That's all I want you to think. Multiply money. When you see trade, we're going to send money out. And with the education that we have and the knowledge that we have in simplicity, when it comes back to you, it comes back with more. If you like that concept, if you like the concept of taking a few dollars that you have set to the side and you send that money out and that money comes back with friends, I want you to put a number 2 in the chat right now. Put a number 2 in the chat. You send $1 out, comes back with 2. How many of you like that? Simple. You say, well, these are 2 completely separate industries. Shouldn't you, if you have vacations, maybe you should have, maybe vacation rentals or car rentals, or it's not about trying to do what's cool. It's about doing what's profitable. Take the money and go start any other type of business that you want. Why trade? Let's go to the next slide here. I want to show you something here. Why trade? Number 1, it empowers you. You know what I love? I love that no matter where I am in the world, here's what happens. I can take my phone and I can go right here to my screen and I can make money. It doesn't get more simple than that, because I have a skill set. It doesn't matter where I am in the world. As long as I have an internet connection, I can make money. I gamify this stuff. I make this very simple. Here's what I've done in the past. my wife and I, we were out in New York, and she was shopping, and she went to a store called Alo's, a store that's kind of like Lululemon, and whereas, you know, they have the workout outfits and stuff like that, pretty cool stuff, right? And I'm in there, and when we go to the store, every store she went to, this was like a Thursday, right? And she would go into the store and say, honey, tell me what you want in here. She'd tell me, I said, what do you think you're gonna spend? And she'd tell me, and I said, go spend it. And I'd sit outside the store, or if they had a seating inside, I'd sit inside in the seats, and I'd actually take my education, my knowledge, I'd look for quick opportunities, and I'd go ahead and make the type of money that she was going to spend, so it never cost me anything. I never forget, we were traveling to the Bahamas and going to Florida one day, and I said, she said, well, honey, can we take a private jet? I'm like, of course. I said, well, where are we going? She says, this is where we're going. I called them up, and they said the private jet was $30,000 one way. No problem. So I got on my app here. I looked at some opportunities that's in the market. I said, this is the knowledge that I have. I'm going to send some friends out to the marketplace, and I'm going to make sure it comes back with $30,000 worth of friends. Why? I didn't want to dig into my pocket to pay for a private jet. That's stupid. I let my money go out and do it. Now, I'm not here telling you that day one you're going to make that type of money, but what I am saying is you can't do it at your job. I couldn't do it with my traditional business, but there's no limit to what I can actually do, and I have fun doing it right here from my own phone. Go to the next slide here. Okay. So when it comes to trading, real simple. Why is it that we show you how to multiply money? Here's what you've learned your whole life. Go out, go to school, and get a job. I want you to know this. Rich people do not work for money. Only people who tread water. Okay? Rich people don't work for money. I told you what rich people do. They use dollars, and they work so that they can get money and send that money with friends so that money can make other money. And that way they never have to go back to work again. They allow their money and their assets to work for them. Here's what banks tell you all the time, and you've probably fallen for this trap. Banks have always told you, every time you've opened up a checking account, immediately they've told you, hey, listen, open up a savings account. I want you to ask the bank the next time, tell me how much you guys have in your savings account. And they won't answer. You know why? Because banks don't have savings accounts. They know that they are losing money if they're saving money. So they want you to keep your money in their account saved while they take your money, leverage it out in the market. So they take your money, send it out, and it comes back with friends, and they never tell you or introduce you to the friends. And you know what? The sad thing is, some of you will hear this, know it's true, and you're going to go do the exact same thing for the next 5 to 10 years. But there's probably 1 or 2 of you who are listening to me right now who are saying, you know what, never thought about that. I want to do something different. If that's you, if you want to do something different, okay, I want you to put a number 3 in the chat. If you want to do something different, put a number 3 in the chat, okay? Now, here's the solution. What we're going to do is we're going to show you how to do what the banks actually do. I learned it. I was a very slow student, don't have a college degree, and we've taught a lot of people how to do it. Matter of fact, I think I have a couple of testimonials of a few people that I can introduce you to. Go to the next slide here real quick. Okay. Why is it that people don't learn how to multiply money? Number 1, they're intimidated. They think it's too difficult for them. Number 2, they think it's a scam. Okay. Guess what? The banks and governments will always make you think it's a scam because they want to do it with your money instead of teaching you how to do it yourself. They're going to continue to do it. Okay. They believe it's time consuming. I can do it at any point in time that I want. Some of our best students, they take 30 minutes in the morning and they're making themselves more money in 30 minutes than they do for a full-time day of work because of something real simple that we do. We teach them how to find small little segments in the marketplace with a couple of techniques. And then many of these people, we teach them how to identify what's going to happen while they're sleeping. We set it up. The triggers happen while they sleep. They wake up in the morning. The money is there. It took none of their time. And it could be you. It could be you. Can you lose? Of course you can lose. I've lost. The chances are that you will probably lose a few of the trades when you first start. So what? You're losing now. You're losing the value of your money that's sitting in banks that allowing other banks to do it. You're losing time by trading your time for money. You're losing in retirement. You're losing in the technology age where technology is replacing the skill sets that you have. Right now, the majority of people are losing. So what? But in those cases, you don't have a chance to turn those losses into wins. Here, you can turn those losses into wins, okay? Here's the facts. It's a skill that anybody can learn. Is that true? Absolutely. I'm going to introduce you to a story of a 9-year-old guy named Caleb who is doing some amazing things. Over in New Zealand, I've got a 9-year-old and a 14-year-old who are making more money than the majority of adults because their father introduced them and they saw their father learning this and they wanted to do it here as well. Most of you right now, you're sending your kids out to college because you went to college and you heard college is the thing that you need to do to make more money. No, make more money is the thing you need to do to make more money. Let's cut to the chase and keep it very simple. Go to the next slide if you don't mind. Okay. Now, I don't want to confuse you with all of this chart stuff. Forget about that. You know why? I didn't understand all of this stuff. And this slide intimidated me. I looked at this stuff and I'm thinking that the guy was doing magic. You don't need to understand this right now. Okay. So I'm going to show you, and our team will teach you how to keep this very, very simple. And you know what? In less than 15 minutes, when you actually get with one of our profit coaches, the information that they'll give you, you'll look at this slide and you will understand everything that you see there. 15 minutes. And this is what intimidated me because I didn't know red and green, why some are long and why some are short, why some are skinny and why some are fat. What do these lines at the bottom represent? And what is all of that? I didn't know it because why? They don't teach it in school. 15 minutes, I can teach you how to become an expert at knowing exactly what it is that you see here. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. What is Forex trading? Okay. The only thing I knew about Forex trading is that it had a 4 and it had an X in it. And that's all you need to know. Basically what it is this. We've got a world financial system and every country around the world has a currency that they use to do trade or exchange money for services and goods and ideas, just like we're going to do at the end of this call. These ideas that I'm sharing with you, you are going to exchange your money for these ideas that I have. Hopefully the ideas are worth more than the money, and that's called a success story. So what happens? $7 trillion a day actually go out and it changes hands. 7 trillion. So don't let anybody tell you that there's a money shortage. It's never a money shortage. It's only a courage and an idea shortage. Okay? $7 trillion. You know what your problem is? The same as mine. I didn't know how to reach in and grab a part of that 7 trillion. It was happening without me. And only the big banks were out there grabbing their portion and keeping people like me focused on being an employee. We're going to change all of that because that doesn't work. Okay. It doesn't work and it's not going to work. And I hope you realize that keep doing it while you can and while you have the job, which is great, but learn how to just take matters into your own hand. Get your mobile phone. Okay. Get your mobile phone or your computer and we'll teach you how to do it with Forex. All right. Next slide. Elevate is the name of our platform that we have. That's our educational course. So when you hear us say elevate, why? Because what we're doing is taking your knowledge, your income, your courage, your confidence, and we're elevating it. Why is that the 8 and infinity sign? Because there are no limits on what you can actually earn in this environment that we have. We're not going to just teach you and throw you out there. We have a community of people that every single morning, one of the things I want you to ask this person about something called coffee and charts. Okay. And I want you to ask them about Profit Snatchers USA and Profit Snatchers UK. This is where we have a couple of calls that we have and people are snatching profits out of the market, out of that 7 trillion. Let me ask you a question. If 7 trillion is going on a day, do you think we can show you how to snatch 500 a day? Do you think it's $500 available in 7 trillion for you? Of course it is, okay? So these are some of our profit coaches that we have that actually teach you. We've got others as well, including myself and some people that we have not even mentioned or shown you here. But these people have been committed. They're experts. They know what they're doing. They're trained. They're profitable themselves, and they have a passion for teaching people how to understand these markets, and they do it in a very unique way. Next slide. Okay. Let me give you a couple of examples here. Oh, there we go. There's Caleb, the first testimonial. 9 years old, is in the 4th grade. He loves soccer and video games. You notice he's not in love with school. He's in love with what he's in love with. Why? Because he knows that he'll never, ever, ever, ever have to go to school to learn how to make money for a job, because his dad teaches him how to make money in the markets, okay? $946 in 30 minutes. He's got $5,000 in his account right now. 9 years old. Lacey, here's one of my stories I love here. Lacey, a massage therapist, she owns a massage therapy business in Hawaii. She started with this company, and look at it. Her account had $5,000 in it. In the beginning, she was making anywhere from $50 to $100 a day. She kept the money in her account, and then a few months later, she was making anywhere from $100 to $300. Then it went to $500. Now it's gone from $1,000 to a couple $1,000s a day. 7 months, $120,000 in profit. We can't guarantee you that, and I have to say that as a disclaimer, but she's never made $100,000 in her life. Do you know how many backs she'd have to put her elbow in to make 100 grand? There's not enough in a year. She does it right here with this, and she says right now she still has her massage therapy business. Christian, 21 years old, is a carpenter, 5 months. I hate to tell this story, but it's real. I interviewed him when I was in Prague. The guy took $5,000. His motivation was that his mom was actually getting married. He wanted to pay for the wedding. Well, he grew that from $5,000. I want you to listen, ladies and gentlemen, to $5.3 million in 15 months. Not 500,000, not 50,000, not 53,000, from 5 grand to $5.3 million in 15 months. Can everybody do that? They can. Will everybody do it? No. He's one of the only students that we've had who've done it so far. Why am I because it's available. You are the one who put the caps on it. When Lacey trades, once she makes $1,000 she shuts it down. Christian has a different personality. He looks and says, hey, listen, I want to max it out. I want to do as much as I can, and he can handle that. So it's up to you how you want to position this. I don't want you to look at it and say, oh, this is too good to be true, because that's what the majority of broke minds do. They look at things that they've never accomplished and say, it must be too good to be true because I don't know anybody who's done it. There's a lot of people who know things that you don't know. Professional football player, good friend of mine, in 9 months, took his income and started making more money in trading than he made as an NFL and won 3 Super Bowls, okay? 3 Super Bowls. Vita Wood here, real estate agent, 7 months to learn, grew a $1,000 account to $200,000 in 7 months. Got Kelly Hooper here, who retired commercial real estate broker. And now my screen just covered up her story some kind of way. But all I can tell you is this. I don't want that. I don't want a live story. No, I don't want that. Go back to where we were. I'll moderate this. Yes, thank you. All right. But Kelly, go back to Kelly's story, please. All right. Go back to Kelly. But she had her biggest day was $80,000 in one day. Biggest month, $303,000. I like sharing the small stories. I told them, get this big stuff off of here. Why? Because most of you don't see yourself making $303,000 in a month. You don't see yourself making 200 grand in 7 months. They didn't either. But once they got in and they start making $50, $100, $200 in 15, 20 minutes, they saw, well, what if I learned a little bit more and had a little bit more experience, I could make a little bit more. And that's what they've done. We'll teach you how to grow your thought process, because if you grow your thought process, you'll grow your profits. Let's go to the next one. Okay. There we go. Now, how do we get involved in this? My question is this here. have I, and I'm talking right now to those of you who came as a guest because we're wrapping it up. This is the part where you're going to give me some money. Not me, but you're going to come and part with some money. It's okay. No big deal. Here's a question. Before I ask you for $1, have I presented something to you that you see that if it worked only half as good as I said, would it be of value to you and your family? If so, put a number 1 in the chat. Okay, because if I don't offer value, you should not give anybody, or me specifically, you should not part with $1 if you don't see value. If you don't see value. Here's what I want you to know, and the ones keep coming. Do you know every single one of those people except Caleb, because he's not old enough to be a distributor or ambassador in our company? Every single person that you saw value first. You know what was going through their mind? I hope he's telling the truth. I don't know if I could do it, but I'm willing to give it a shot. But if this worked half as good as he said it will work, would it be worth what I have to exchange for his information? Let me show you that it would be. Real simple. Here's how we make this work. Create a business with residual income. As a customer, you can't do that. As a customer, all you can actually have is you can have access to our travel and receive discounted prices. And also, you can actually buy or become one of our students on the Elevate side, and you can actually build income every time you trade, but there's no residual income that's available. Joining the team, the marketing team, you can. There's 2 options. One as a customer, one as one of our marketing team members. So all of the benefits, 100% of them are in the marketing team. As a customer, there's great benefits, but not the same as a marketing team. Enjoy travel discounts, yes. Join the marketing team, you get the same thing. Learn to trade as a customer, yes. On the marketing team, absolutely you can. Why is the no so important? Let me share with you the difference between the no and the yes when it comes to residual income. Residual income simply means this. It means that I can actually build a community, build an environment, a community. What is a community made of? Other individuals who are like-minded. And anytime they have actually performed and do something that generates revenue, I get paid whether I'm asleep, whether I'm awake, whether I'm away, on vacation, whether I'm working, it doesn't matter. That's residual income. And that's what every grown person in the world should have, in my opinion. Now, how do we make this work? When you get yourself empowered, there's a couple of opportunities for you to a couple of options for you to build the business, but I want to make it very simple. Let's move to the next slide. Once we get you started and you become an ambassador, you'll receive your own QR code. You see it says IGO. This is your link. You send that link to people and they can actually scan on that link. They get their own website. They get travel discounts. And every time they save $1, you make 50 cents. You heard that? If they save $2, we give you $1. If they save $100 on their travel, we send you a check for 50. If they save $1,000 on their travel, you saw I saved 1,800. If they save 1,000, we send you a check for 500. Not only for one person, but what if they went and they had 5 other couples going with them and they all saved 1,000? That's 500 times 5 different people, 2,500. It happens all the time. It happens in your community. The only reason you're not getting it is you're not in position to. You don't have a link. You're not empowered. You don't even have to go and sell this because you can't. It's free, okay? So now, once you get a link, you can invite to customers. And once you invite customers, then you can start participating in our income stream. And there's 7 different income streams that you can actually access. Direct customer bonuses. I'm not even going to mention all of them. There's 7 ways to get paid. Why shouldn't I mention them? When I had a job, there was 2 ways to get paid. One is when I clocked in and I performed, and number 2 is when they fired me and they gave me a severance. Those are the only 2 ways I got paid. Here, there's 7 ways to get paid. You can learn about them later, but they're very simple. Go to the next slide so we can wrap this up. From a travel perspective, here's how it works. I've already explained. We give you 50% of whatever the savings are. I already know what's in your mind. You're probably saying, how is that possible? The math is not mathing. This doesn't work the way I think it should work. And this can't be the case. And they don't pay anything to me. And I get 50% of the money of their savings. Yeah, why? Because remember we told you the behind the curtain pricing? we only offer 50% of those savings to your customer. So when they purchase, they're still purchasing at a cheaper rate, which reserves a certain percentage of that money that we can now pay back to you for helping us get that customer. And trust me, once they become our customer, they won't ever go back to Expedia. They won't ever go back to all of those other kayaks and that. They're going to stay an iGo customer for life. And as long as you are an iBoomerang ambassador, those checks every single month they travel come back to you. It's just that simple. Okay. Elevate. How do you participate with Elevate? What's the example here? For every person that becomes a customer, you get a $30 commission for them becoming a part of our educational platform. 10 customers is $300 a month. All they're doing is learning and being in an environment where they're making money. And without anything that you're doing, you're not selling them anything, you're not convincing them, you're not keeping in contact with them, you got an extra $300 a month. It's $3,600 a year. Maybe you can buy a little bit more bread, if you know what I'm talking about. Let's go to the next slide so we wrap this up, okay? Now, in this example, our marketing plan, if you want to build it fast, it only takes 2 people. 2 people to get it started, to start your team. I want to be honest, start your team. Don't just finish at 2. But here's how it will work. Let's just say that you actually introduce 2 people and they say, yeah, I want to learn how to make my money multiply, send it out with overalls and let it come back with friends. They know 2 people. Month number 2, you got 4. Month number 3, you got 8. Month number 4, you get it. At the end, 6 months, 64 team members came in. You've got 127 total people that's in your network, of which you only knew 2. It's how the world works. It's how your social media works. You don't know everybody in your social media. You knew a few people and you gave those leads to the social media company. The social media company start marketing to those people, told them, hey, make a list of all your friends, give us access to your contacts. And that's how you've actually built a network marketing model through social media for which you get paid 0 money. Mark Zuckerberg gets paid all the money for all of your friends, so-called friends, on Facebook and on Instagram. You built Mark Zuckerberg's network marketing program. You built Facebook. You built all these social media platforms, and they get paid. But you know what? You're probably used to it. It's called financial abuse. It's what most people are. They're used to people taking all of their resources, abusing them. They get paid all the money and actually just give you the entertainment piece. We do it a little different. We give you the money. Okay. Next slide. What can you achieve here? Now, if you look at it, right, in that example that we just talked about, if you were only to do 10% of what we just talked about in that model, that's $1,000 a month. If you did 50%, it's $5,000 a month. If you went all out and you did the thing the way that we talked about doing it, getting those 10 customers with 124 people there, guess what? That's $10,000 per month in this example. Can we guarantee that that's what you're going to do? I don't know. No, we can't guarantee it. But go to work tomorrow and ask them, do you have a plan like this for me? If you're not making 10 grand a month, ask your company, what plan do you have for me to get to 10 grand a month this year or in 2024? Most companies don't have it. This is why you have to create your own plan. Okay. Now, next slide. So as you come through the opportunity, we've told you about travel. We told you about being able to make money multiply. Here's how it actually works. To sign up as a customer, it's free on iGo. As a customer in Elevate, let's just say you don't want to participate with residual income. You don't want checks coming and stuff like that. You only want to learn how to send your money out to multiply and never, ever, ever send an email or a link to anyone. It costs you $179 a month. That's it. Let me ask you a question. Do you think the value that we provided and the value that we're going to give you through all of these people who are making this money, the people that you just saw, they're going to be in those communities teaching you as well, showing you how they do it. Is it worth $179 a month? Of course it is. How much did you guys pay for books in college? That means nothing to you right now. Of course it's worth it. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. To become a marketing ambassador with us is as simple as entering at $49, and that's what it is. $49 allows you to become licensed, if you will. It's not really a license, but a member, an ambassador, so that you can now choose which of the packages suit you the best. It's not $49 and that's it. That will be a ripoff. We will be ripping ourselves off and doing you a disservice thinking that this is a $49 opportunity. I typically like to start with the highest pack, but here we're going to start with the lowest cost pack. To get started and really start participating with everything that we have is cost you as little as, if you want the coach class travel pack, if travel is your thing, $249 to get started, and $99 per month to have access to all of those travel discounts and access to being able to give out all those travel websites so that you can actually make money from your customers. If you want to add Elevate for that, it's $149 and then $149 a month so that you have access to Elevate. If you notice, it's $30 cheaper here for you as an ambassador. This is what we call the coach class, okay? Somebody says, take me to the top. I'm working on it. Business class is our second category here. $499 a month. $499 to get started if you want the travel, and it's $99 per month to maintain that class of membership with us. Think about it. You're getting on your website here, you're going into Elevate and doing like what I do is find an opportunity, making yourself maybe $100 a day. And then, you know what? The first week you make $100 a day, $500, you paid back your travel expense for getting, not your travel expense, but your business class travel pack. And for your first 5 days, just by making $100 a day once you go through the Elevate program. You want to add Elevate, it's always going to cost you $149 to add on and $149 per month. Here's what I want you to do. Stop thinking about what does it cost you per month and start thinking about how much you're losing per month by not having this level of education. 2 more slides and we're done. First class, ladies and gentlemen, and this is everybody likes to fly first class. It's $1,000, $999, $100 a month for the travel. And if you want the first class trade pack, you can do that. You can do $999 trade pack, $149 a month. But here's what you get. With the first class trade pack, you're going to get a 5-day kickstart online training. 5 days. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what I want you to understand. What we teach in those 5 days, I promise you, has the ability to get you more income than what you did in 4 years in college. All of those people that you saw with those testimonials, they all took the 5-day Kickstarter, Kickstart online. And you still pay $149 per month, okay? And then our ultimate pack is if you say, hey, I want them all, first class travel, first class trade, it's normally $2,000. We actually give you a promotional price. We take $500 off. Why do we do that? Because I told the team, I said, listen, if a person is going to pay $2,000, which still is not a lot of money, I want them, let's give them $500 back. Let them put that in their trading account. So when they're ready, after they finish the Kickstarter, they have $500 that we credited back to them, or we gave it to them in the form of a discount. They start their account with $500. And what if we taught them how to just make 10% a day the first week? It's $50 a day. And then they keep increasing their income. But here you got the best of both worlds. Why? Because with the money that you'll be making, you'll travel and you'll save more money than any of these packs cost by the end of 1 year's travel. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing as I wrap it up. It's been a pleasure of mine to introduce iBoomerang to you. I'm the founder of the company. I put it together, not by myself, with a lot of other people who helped put this company together. I'm extending an invitation to you to join us. We want you to be a part of this team. Become a part of the family that we have called iBoomerang. We want you. We want your story. Here's what I want you to do. Those of you who saw the value and you put the ones in there, the people who invited you, here's what I want you to do. I want you to, if you have zero interest and you're like, I don't want to travel, I don't want to save any money, I don't want to make any money, I want to do exactly what I'm doing. You know what? I want you to put a 0 in the text message and send them a 0. Say, thank you. 0. They'll never call you again about it. I promise you they won't. But if you're sitting there saying, you know what, right now I don't know, but you know what, I like to kind of tip my toe in the water a little bit, and maybe the coach package is for me. Send them a 1. Say, listen, you know what, right now my mind is at the coach pack level. That way they know they can answer some questions for you. They're probably going to be dealing with several people because we had a lot of people from around the world on these calls. But if you're sitting there saying, you know what, I want to really, this looks pretty good, you know, and you're thinking business class pack, send them a number 3. Just text them, say, hey, listen to the call. My level of interest is number 3. But if you're sitting there saying, hey, I want to fly first class, I do. And I'm talking about opportunity wise, send them a 4. But if you're sitting there saying, I'm kind of like that guy that did the presentation, I'm hungry. You know, I want a massive change. I want to do all that I can do. My interest level is a 5. I want to know what I need to do to become massively successful. Send them a 5. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll make sure the right people get back with you. We'll make sure that they answer your questions. And as I told you, nobody's going to force you to invest or spend $1. I hope that I gave you enough value in this 1 hour, the hour of power, to show you that this can be a changing moment in your life. Okay? I hope it's a changing moment for your life, because I know for a fact there's people on this call that it will be a changing moment for me. Love you guys. Thank you for enjoying your Saturday or your Sunday with me. And I can't wait to see you guys on the beaches of the world. Goodbye, everybody.
My name's Tanisha Gomez. Traditional business owner. I put $1,000 in my account, and within 90 days, I had it over to $20,000.
It's not until you start believing and seeing the community of people who want to see you win, do you start to really, truly believe that you can do this.
My why was to help my son who struggles with addiction issues, and I needed to make $30,000 a month to pay for his recovery. That why has been met.
My name is Joe Fernandez. I am from Melbourne, Australia. Before I got into trading, I wasn't doing anything, like a fancy job or anything. I was working in factories. Yeah, so up until this point, I've managed to, build a portfolio of multiple 6 figures.
My career is 20 years in law enforcement. I had $100, and within 3 days, that $100 turned into $711.
I used to fix copiers, copy machines for a major company, and then I would DJ parties at night. 1 full month, probably 30 to 40,000 in 1 month.
I made a decision that I want to earn more. And that's kind of crazy because you can't really do that in a job. You can't decide like, hey, for the next hour, boss, I'm going to be paid £50 an hour instead of 20. But no, yesterday I made a decision and I said, look, I think I did £500 for the day.
So I was looking for something where I could make money and also be with my children. And so in the beginning, I was making $50 to $100 a day. And then my account grew, in a couple of months to about $20,000.